What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I am your host, Chris Raybon, and NFL Week 7 is here. This is your Week 7 waiver episode, as always, joined by one of the most accurate rankers in the game, the odds maker, Sean Kerner. Sean, how is your Week 6?
Good. All even number weeks have been excellent for me. I'm thinking I should just take odd weeks off. But had a nice 7-4, plus 2.3 unit week. But I ended Monday Night Football on a loss, so it feels like I went 0-8. So it's always one of those things. But how about you?
Yeah. So the good news is I went undefeated on player props. The bad news is I did not win a spread.
Yeah.
And I lost on Monday night. And I would like to say that, you know how they say like wins and losses are not a quarterback stat? Well, Jet losses the last 2 weeks have been a Mike Williams stat. I would just like to get that out there.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't. I had the Jets. I could not believe it. Another like the second straight week, Mike Williams essentially ends the game.
Yep.
With like a gaff. He was wide open, just falls down.
Well,
and apparently he ran the wrong route on that too.
They brought in a receiver to potentially help with that.
Devontae Adams to the New York Jets and Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. So AFC East reloaded. I don't think that's going to affect our waivers too much, but we'll talk about that more probably in our player projection episode, which you can find right here on the channel as well. Let's go into our waiver wire targets for week number 7. Let's start at QB. I know we both like the same guy, so talk to me about Sam Darnold here.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. I mean, I was high on him all off season. Thought he was a sneaky, 2 QB league kind of guy. But this week he's my QB 7, so he is playable in 1 QB 12 team leagues. The Vikings have been pretty pass heavy. You wouldn't know it, but they have been pass heavy. They've just blown out so many teams that it's kept Darnold's volume pretty low. But this is a game where we could see him have season highs in attempts, yards, etc. This should be a shootout against the Lions, who are, a pass funnel defense. And, they're going to be without Aiden Hutchinson the rest of the season, most likely now. So this is even more beatable through the air, in my opinion. So love Darnold this week. And he might be getting TJ Hawkinson back this week. Obviously, Hawkinson will probably be limited if he does return this week. But again, that does enhance Darnold's long-term value even more. So like him this week. And again, like if he performs well this week, he could, offer low-end QB1 value at times the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, he's my QB 10. So, I mean, QB 7. Woo, that's a nice early Tuesday Sam Darnold projecting.
For sure.
I guess the only thing the reason I'm a little lower is there is probably a I don't know what percent chance, but some percent chance that the game goes kind of like the Cowboy game went last week, which would not be good. But the fact that they're losing Aiden Hutchinson, I think is pretty big, especially with the Vikings coming off of a bye, some extra time to prepare. I think that'll do them well. And Aaron Jones is a little banged up too, right?
So, he might not play.
So
I think he's more on the doubtful side. Yeah.
That would just increase the potential pass rate of the Vikings. And he's only had one finish lower than QB 14. He's been a top 10 quarterback in 3 of his 5 starts. So he's been pretty consistent this year. So yeah, I like Darnold as well. Running back, a lot more guys to talk about. Let's start with that Buffalo backfield. Are you looking? I mean, that's the guy you have written down first. You want to talk about somebody else first? You want to go Ray Davis?
Well, I'm going to go straight to Tyler Allgeier. He's still available in 70% of leagues. I just find that baffling. I really don't get it. I mean, he's seeing enough volume to offer RB3 flex value right now, even with Bijan Robinson fully healthy. I mean, he out carried Bijan for a second time, last week. But he's one of those guys where he's offering value right now as the backup. But if Bijan were to miss time, he would offer clear RB1 value. So he is a must-own in every league. I have no clue why he's still available in 70% of leagues. Ty Chandler is a guy we just talked about. Aaron Jones might not play this week, so Ty Chandler could be, 1 week rental. He's available in 68% of leagues. Now, this is a tougher matchup against the Lions. They are a pass funnel defense. But he could offer RB3 flex value if Aaron Jones is out. So again, he might be worth an ad for this week. And then, the Bills backfield, Ray Davis looked great in his spot start for James Cook last night. So if James Cook is out again, Ray Davis is going to offer potential RB2 value. Same goes with Isaac Guerendo. Not sure if Jordan Mason's going to play through his shoulder injury this week, but Guerendo,
he did practice Monday, so that it's looking optimistic for Mason. I will say that, but I mean, I got beef with Guerendo after he goes down 4 yards short of the end zone and 1 yard short of the 3-point bonus on DraftKings. Ends with 99 yards.
Brutal. But again, like if Mason's out, he will be a surefire RB2 option. Not sure what's going on with McCaffrey. McCaffrey might return in a couple weeks. So, Guerendo and Jordan Mason, their value might be coming to an end if McCaffrey does return in the next couple weeks. And the other guy I'll just mention real quick is Trey Benson. He's starting to get more work. He's, pretty clearly James Conner's backup. So if Connor were to miss any time, I think, Benson would be a potential RB2 option. And again, Connor's missed 3+ games every season in his career. So
it's coming.
It'll happen at some point. Same thing with Blake Corum. You can't forget about him. These guys, you probably want to roster them before the starting running back goes down. You have to blow your entire fab on them. So I think, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, those kind of guys will probably still get, a few spot starts down the road.
Yeah, and the other guy I'll mention, since you covered most of it, is Sir Tanquin Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still available in about 56% of leagues. He should not be available. Reportedly, ETN is now week to week with a hamstring. He came into the first London game with a shoulder issue, so that it looked like that was going to keep him out. He was kind of splitting the first few drives with ETN 50-50, but now it's apparently a hamstring, which, those things can nag, and they're already calling him week to week. So it looks like he's going to miss this week. Bigsby might have been the kind of wrestled that starting job away regardless. So did you get ETN's rushing under this season, or was that last year? Were you off?
Oh, yeah, no, that was last year.
Okay. Well, darn.
I didn't do, Rashad White's rushing yard under either. Just last year, disgruntled with every running back playing 17 games. But yeah, I kind of thought Tank Bixby would factor in a little bit more last year. I knew Bucky Irving would factor in a lot more this year, but I did not get the fade down in time.
And no reason to fade Bigsby. He's leading all running backs with 5.9 yards after contact per carry, according to PFF. And remember, we talk about this on this show in our player projections episode as well, but yards after contact tends to be more sticky, more predictive. When you're kind of projecting running backs, yards before contact, a little bit more of a offensive line stat. Some running backs still, vision, they'll still have different splits from their offensive line, but the yards after is really what we want. And Bigsby is just running away with the league lead in that category. The Patriots are 27th in run defense DVOA according to FTN. So good matchup and good talent. The only issue with him preventing, because he's I think my RB16. The only issue preventing me from ranking him as an RB1 should ETN miss is that Dearness Johnson still mixes in for a lot of the pass down work. They still seem to be more comfortable with somebody other than Bigsby on the field in passing.
Yeah, but this is a good game script for Bigsby, at least.
We think, unless it's like a Drake May eruption spot,
right.
which it could be against the 32. Look at Caleb. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns? 5 touchdowns? I don't even know. They just kept coming with Caleb Williams. So but either way, Bigsby's an RB2 this week if ETN misses.
Even when ETN, I'm assuming he misses this week, even when ETN is back and fully healthy, there's a chance Bigsby is the Jaguars' starting running back going forward, right? Yeah,
at least the early down back. So it would be like, I'm trying to think of who else, like a guy who gets like a lot of early down but doesn't really get many passing. They don't have many of those anymore. Like a David Montgomery, but on a bad team, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of a rich comparison, but
the Bizarro David Montgomery.
Hey, I have Bigsby ranked higher than Montgomery right now.
I know, I saw that. I know. It's a little tougher week. Again, we talked about that Minnesota matchup, a little tougher. A lot of options there. As far as So you're going Allgeier first, like that's your priority ad among the guys you mentioned, correct?
Well, Bigsby's higher ranked this week. Just Allgeier and Bixby are kind of the same player, where they're offering RB3 flex value even when the starting running back is healthy, and both offer high end RB2 upside if the starting running back were to miss time. So I think adding Bigsby is the priority ad for this week and going forward. But Allgeier is a close second, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then it just comes down to like who's going to miss. So probably Chandler, and then Davis, and then Garendo, just based on the probabilities of those guys missing. All right, wide receiver. Who do you like this week?
Well, it's always tricky. So just check my initial week 7 ranks to see who's the best available wide receiver in your league if you're listening. But I'm going to stick with Juju Smith-Schuster here, still available in 66% of leagues. Should have been added last week, but I think he has just a nice high floor wide receiver 3 flex value in full PPR leagues, just because it seems like he has taken over the Rashee Rice role in this offense, and he showed just enough left in the tank where he can take advantage of it. Plus, Devontae Adams going to the Jets, Amari Cooper going to the Bills kind of helps his value because I could see them like seeking out a wide receiver like that. So I think that helps his job security. Those 2 receivers are now on other teams. And I had written down Jerry Jeudy as a potential sneaky flyer in like deeper leagues if you're desperate at wide receiver. And well, now that Amari Cooper's gone, the cat's out of the bag there. But he has another potential positive thing incoming if they decide to bench Deshaun Watson at any time. I think, Jameis Winston under center will help Jerry Jeudy out as well. But now that Cooper's gone, Judy's going to be the clear number 1 wide receiver in this offense. I think he probably still tops out at wide receiver 3 upside. But again, if you're in deeper leagues, I think you got to add him.
Yeah, no, Jeudy is, it's going to be ugly in that passing game, but Cleveland tends to have success against Cincinnati at home. So, it seems like it's like the one game the Bengals they almost always lose that game just historically since in the Burrow era. So, this is a bad Cleveland team, so maybe it shifts around, but there's at least some hope.
Yeah.
I'll mention a triumvirate of guys. Number 1, Michael Wilson's available in 86% of leagues. That's a little too many. Marvin Harrison, concussion, so could miss if they have an extra day. So he might still be back. But even if not, last 4 games, Wilson's had an 8-catch game and a 5-catch game, 2 games with 64 or more receiving yards. Year 2 guys, we know that this day and age, wide receivers tend to break out in year 2. It's not year 3 anymore like it was when the league was a little less pass heavy. So either way, I like Wilson in this spot. The matchup is kind of tough against the Chargers, but he has a chance to be the number 1 wide receiver, and he's playing well. So like him. And then you got to add back, because you probably dropped, both Green Bay receivers. Looks like Dontavian Wicks is week to week. So Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Romeo Doubs available in 70% of leagues. Watson available in 55% of leagues. Potential shootout looming with the Houston Texans. Doubs 2 touchdowns in his return to action. Watson led the team in receiving with 68 yards, caught a tutty on 3 catches, and played on 72%, ran around on 72% of the dropbacks, which is key for him because he was hovering around under 50% at times with Wicks eating in. So if Wicks is week to week, that's a big boost for Christian Watson as long as he can stay healthy. But I do think he's worth adding along with Romeo Doubs because this Packer offense, they're throwing it up, and Jaden Reed is on the injury report as well. So there should still be fantasy goodness to go around. All right, yeah. So Wilson, Doubs, Watson for me, Juju, Jerry Jeudy for you. Let's go to tight end. Who do you like in week 7 waiver tight end?
I put Kate Otten in the outline, but I have Colby Parkinson in my notes, so I apologize for that. But Colby Parkinson, available in 84% of leagues. He's probably dropped just because the Rams were on a bye last week, but he opens the week as my tight end 9 with a nice matchup against the Raiders. His rank will drop a little bit if Cooper Kupp is able to return this week, but I think the window is probably closing on Parkinson because Kupp, Puka might be returning soon. Plus, Tyler Higbee might be returning at some point soon, right? So I think, short term, he's the way to go. I think long term, Kate Otten could be, long term, low end tight end one. He's been really starting to see more targets in that passing attack. And he's always had the playing time. I said he's always leading the league in routes run rate. If he could just get some damn targets, he'd be a low end tight end one. That's happening. So I think Kate Otten might be a sneaky long term option if you need help at tight end.
Playing on 97% of the pass snaps and running a route on 86% of the dropback. So yeah, I'd say getting some playing time. I had Parkinson written as well, and then you swiped him from me. But I'll just talk about now the matchups for both. I like both.
Yeah,
they're both available about 2/3 of the week. So Otten goes against the Ravens this week, which it should be a good matchup for him. The Ravens are 28th in DVOA against tight ends. I already mentioned the playing time. And then Parkinson against the Raiders, they're 31st in DVOA against tight ends, and he's running a route on 81% of the dropback. So, I know there's going to be some tight ends that have some more name value that are probably ranked higher. I think some people are going to rank Mark Andrews higher, but these guys aren't getting routes. And at the end of the day, you need routes to be like that. Those are going to be the most predictive things in terms of, who kind of pops off from week to week. So I would take guys like Otten and Parkinson over Mark Andrews, who's still running around in about 60% of the dropbacks for a team that at any given game could go extremely run heavy. It's like 60% is the median, but that's a little shaky there too. So yeah, like Otten, like Parkinson. Let's go to defense, special teams. Who do you like?
Bengals. They're my number 2 defense to open the week, available in 83% of leagues. They get to face Deshaun Watson this week. Hopefully he doesn't get benched yet. But, facing Watson boosts their sack projection, potential turnover, pick 6 projection. Watson doesn't have Amari Cooper to throw 10 feet over his head this week, so he's going to have to find another receiver to throw over the
Jamari Thrash, baby!
There we go. Or Cedric Tillman. He's out there running routes. So again, the Bengals see an uptick in all the more predictive stats for defenses. So they the defensive line is healthy right now. So they open the week as my number 2 defense.
Is that because the Bills are your number 1 defense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. That's just checking. So yeah, I got the Bills. Still available in 63% of leagues. They're going against the Titans, and I mean, Will Levis stinks. So Bills defense number 1. That's all I'll say. Tennessee's allowed the most fantasy points per game to opposing defenses. Bills are 12th in defensive DVOA. Hopefully, we get Ed Oliver back this week. He's been out. Mm-hmm. That hasn't been ideal, but if the Bills don't give up that Hail Mary against the Jets. Well, I mean, they probably give up 13 points, although if Mike Williams doesn't clown it out, they give up 16 to 20. But either way, Bill's always going to have a high floor with McDermott, regardless of what you think of him as a head coach. So until the Titans figure it out, and I mean, Calvin Ridley, where are you, bro?
Oh,
8
my God.
targets, 0 catches. Will Levis. Yep. I'm going to put that on Will Levis, man.
I had under 3.5 receptions. I knew that the coach speak was like, we need to get really more involved. But I thought that still requires 4 catchable balls from Will Levis. I just can't get behind it. So I still took his under. But we got some more Will Levis memes. I mean, he is on a generational run, so I'm expecting some more this week against the Bills.
Oh man, it's like I gotta make. It's like I have 2 models. It's like the normal defensive model and the Will Levis model.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah,
it's like, or it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I don't even know what the. I mean, you would think Rudolph would have played more by now. I think the only time he played was when Levis had the injury. But Callahan, I mean, bro, you're now 5 games into this. You gotta save your job.
If they bench Levis, how far do the Bills defense drop in your ranks?
They're still a top 10 defense, but I don't think I know exactly where. Just because, I mean, Rudolph still is a guy who spent a lot of his career as a number 3, but so he's not like the savior or anything. But he's just he's just not doing what Levis is doing. So. Yeah, I mean, Rudolph is about average interception rate for his career. He's pretty good in sack rate. So the Bills, they wouldn't be nearly as enticing.
Yeah,
without Levis. But I mean, as long as the quarterback gets a start, you got to kind of project them for 90% plus of the snap. So that's that. We're rolling with the Bengals and the Bills. Two defenses, number 1 and 2, that should be available in the majority of leagues. Finish it out with kicker. Oh, looks like we got the same kicker.
We're in lockstep this week.
Yeah.
Well, Will Reichert is available in 97% of leagues. The Vikings were on a bye last week, so scoop him up if he's available. Again, he was the all-time leading scorer in college football history. He's a perfect 9 of 9. In field goals this year, 3 of 3 from beyond 50. He has a solid leg, made all 16 of his extra point attempts. He's kicking at home this week in a dome in what should be a high-scoring affair against the Lions. I don't know what else to say. He's a must-add this week. He's inside my top 3 to open up the week.
Yeah, it's my kicker 3 as well. So,
yep.
I guess the only thing to say is he's probably due for a miss. He's 25 of 25. Kicker luck rankings. What do you got?
He's just good. I don't know if he's due for a miss.
He's due.
Maybe we should have a side. Well, yeah, he's going to miss at some point. I wouldn't bet this week though.
He's probably
not going to make 100% of his field goals lifetime. We'll see though. We'll see.
All right. That's going to do it for NFL Week 7 waivers episode here on the Fantasy Flex. Make sure to subscribe to the Fantasy Flex podcast so you don't miss an episode. We're dropping 3 between Sean and I every single week. And, of course, you can check out fantasylabs.com for all of our fantasy football content, rankings, projections. Don't forget to use promo code FLEX40, FLEX40, for $40 off right now. You can find Sean on X at _oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next time, let's get this shmoney.